try to give her a call again, and then she just added another phone number to the 13-year-old grandson who's possibly with the daughter. Step out with this.
2412.
Veteran crisis hotline's calling in, so they have a female veteran's off her medication. She's at work to safe haven. Detective 12, we'll check that one out.
6 Rumble, 2 1 started to show us.
Office still stands for time? No. Offender in custody? Thanks. Anyone else close? Wait, just zero something. Let me know. Confirm standby. 10-4.
Oh my gosh. Okay, now can you guys hear me?
I can
Man,
hear you.
I just went through a little damn speech and this thing muted me because I switched scenes. I thought once you unmute the mic, it's good throughout the whole thing, but maybe not. Anyway, I
We're
was
learning as
saying
we go.
right. I was saying I apologize for bumping the show back a couple times, um, and also for the live ending up being another link because the program number one, we were sitting here for a few minutes waiting for it to get going. It was just sitting here spinning. And then after that, here, hold on, let me make sure I'm not muted. Okay, I'm not muted. Um, and I was getting into that interview that the Consulus family had. I gotta say, it was an amazing interview. Very at the interview room, very good interview. Um, you saw how Christy. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to see that she was glowing. You know, you could really see the glow in her face, the glow in her eyes, um, until a certain point. And when somebody said the word destroyed, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And then you could see the glow kind of go away a little bit. But I thought it was a very good interview. Right there towards the end, they talked about uh, how they don't even care for the gag orders. Steve said that he's going to still challenge it even after the trial. He's still going to challenge the gag order for the future for the state of Idaho. So you know,
It ama- it amazed me when he said, "No one will take my daughter's voice from me."
right. Well, remember in the very beginning, remember when he was talking about having a lawsuit out against the city and the state? I
Now, is
thought
that the torch or is that another one?
the what?
You know, that they have one and the Laramies have one. It's a tort
I think that's what
case.
it is. Is that what I'm thinking of?
Yeah,
It was like very in the very beginning, the first,
right. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a tort. It's a tort case against the city, against the U of I, and
I,
somebody else.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. That's pretty interesting. But you know, they talked about Kaylee's Law, which I thought was a really cool idea. I like the name. I think it's a really good idea about, not having the secrecy. They got to a point in the interview where they were talking about, um, just the broadness of the gag order. And I think all of us have been saying that, from the very beginning, when it came to the little bits of information that was getting out there, not much from law enforcement, that is. um you could even see it in the Q&As that they would open up with after the press conferences. um but when you started to, like, after we got through the arrest, and then as a few months would go on, then you'd really start to see the broadness of everything. And I think that's the most unfortunate part.
Well, I mean, I think Steve, if I heard correctly, he said that they've wondered several times how their kids got involved in such a murder to have such secrecy.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the unfortunate part about it, is that when there's that much secrecy, that leads to so many theories. You know what
Oh
I'm saying?
yeah, oh yeah,
And
definitely.
and that just makes it's almost like living through, it's like a groundhog day. It's got to be a groundhog day, where every day it's the same. You even see it out in the streets of YouTube, and it's just the same stuff being brought up over and over and over and over and over, and pretending like it's brand new. And then it just leads to it kind of like stunts the process of them being able to heal properly. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think that's what I was talking to you about was, you know, I didn't lose my son how they did, but losing a child regardless, I can't imagine having to just wake up every day in the same day and hear, I think Christy even talked about, that they hear the stories, they hear the narratives, they hear them being accused of being involved and stuff like that, and I can't even imagine trying to go through the grief cycle
Mm,
and deal with what they've dealt with.
right. I mean, and even being accused of,
Yeah.
essaying your own daughter and stuff too. Like, listen, you can go through my videos. You'll see my videos when I'm questioning things that are being said. It's like, wait a minute, where's the evidence?
But that's different,
A
CJ.
lot of that stuff, but I always say, every time I do talk about it, I always talk about, look, this, even though I basically said that he's basically regurgitating things that he is being force fed to him in order for him to stay back and keep his silence, and has always been, since they reached out to him in the very beginning and said, after he said, "Don't make me be the alpha," that's when I think they went, shit, we need to just give him little bits of stuff, let him know that nobody else knows this stuff. But what the thing is it's a lot of stuff that's just said, and so some of this stuff, it's like, wait a minute, where's the evidence for that? But at the same time, I always praise, because he was the only one in the very beginning. People were quick, and I don't know why. In the very beginning, when he was the only one that was coming out talking before the alpha comment, because they were the ones that brought up the grub truck video. They were the ones that brought up the LinkedIn account being deleted. They were the ones that brought up all these things, the interviews that they were doing in the very beginning, Chronicles of Olivia. Um, they were the ones that were really talking about what was going on, and then also coming out with stuff. And I almost feel that if they weren't stopped, if Steve wasn't stopped from pushing and finding the truth, I really feel like Steve would have solved the crime, honestly. And in the very beginning, because he was so outspoken, people hated on him so much. I mean, the hate was unreal towards Steve in the very beginning, because he was the one standing up, coming out and saying stuff. And I always stuck up for him back then, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I do talk about Steve, but at the same time, it's just about the evidence.
Well, I mean, there's a big difference. We're all going to question. But the thing about it is, I think I've heard you say you have a daughter, right?
Yeah, I got
Okay. So, and this is what I try to explain to people is there's nothing that Steve could have done to have saved his daughter. Okay? Nothing at all.
no,
But
no,
a daddy-daughter relationship, you are to protect that daughter. You are to take care of that daughter. You know what I'm saying? And you being a daddy of a daughter, you understand that. And you can't imagine
even if it
what
was a
Steve
friend,
G is feeling.
even if it was a friend, no, I could never imagine,
I
you know,
mean,
I
and
could
I'm
never.
not taking anything away from
But
Christy being a mom because, I'm a mom that's lost a child. But that daddy daughter, you don't know how much regret and guilt he probably carries for himself.
well, yeah, just you always are going to question if maybe you would have went
What if
this
I'd have got her
way,
not to go that
or,
weekend?
yeah, like you would have went this way instead of this way. You're always hindsight is always 2020, and there's nothing that he could have done. But even as a friend, if I mean, hell, Nina, I even do this for people I never even met or never even know about, where I'm going out to the locations trying to make a difference. You know what I mean? So it's because I do it because I to me it's almost like a karma thing. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm trying to do everything that I can on this planet for them, but also because, you know, man, I can't imagine. I can't imagine. Um and so yeah, even if it was a friend, I would still be standing out in front of news crews talking about the lack of justice, for sure. Uh and I do with people I don't even know. And so, for anybody that would want to criticize them or anything like that, I just think it's uncalled for, because um it's I would be fighting the same. You know what I'm saying? I,
Oh,
I
yeah.
I've told people I would, I have a platform. I told people, look, if I'd barely be on to do a live stream, but I guarantee you, this channel would be up 24/7, rotating pictures, putting up info. It would be like a constant rotating billboard just to try and bring more attention. So I I would do the same damn thing. And if the right thing's not happening, it's not going to happen unless people stand up and say something. You know,
Right.
I but I think what happens is that, because you guys got to understand, Steve back then was a frickin' freight train with steam flying out of all sorts. He was just flying down that track. And that's the only way, this is my opinion, this is the only way that they could stop him, was, hey, we're gonna tell him stuff, tell him that people don't know, just to so he feels like he's invested, and kind of keep him at bay. And I think there was a lot of things that were said that, are not true anymore, or starting to come out, that, oh, well, I must have read that somewhere. No, that's probably what you were told, and then you went back to that person and said, "Hey, I thought you said this," and they said, "Steve, I never said that," when they really did. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like
Oh
that,
yeah.
right? And that's when you're like, "Well, I must have read it somewhere." No, you were told stuff that's just absolutely not true. Now, with this interview tonight, it was what a great episode.
It was more personable to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And shout out to the interview room and the guests. And yeah, and the Consulus family for taking time to sit down and like I
Heck, I
said,
thought Dr. Mercado was going to make me cry though.
yeah. Well, it's like I said, like I've always talked about, how I feel so bad for Christy because you can just see it from a couple months after he was arrested. You could just see the pain and the gradual process of how it was going with different interviews and stuff and the different things that she was saying. And so lately, it was looking really, you just felt really bad because you could tell. And it was so great tonight to be able to get on there just from the get-go. You could just see the glow and the beauty just shining through overboard, and it was just amazing to see that too. And I felt really good that it's like, yes, now she's got that glow back, and that shine that extends outward. And so it was good to see that too. A great interview, a lot of great statements that were made, a lot of good stories, and very heartfelt. And it was good to see them in that kind of light. So shout out to the interview room, did a wonderful job hosting the show,
Oh
and
yeah.
doing that. Yeah.
But they lost their son.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So, you've got a parent that's understanding their loss.
Right. Yeah. Well, and Super Goat Gazer, we were, shout out to you. I saw you in there too. That was that's the main thing that when it comes to these gag orders, because this is just me. I Should there be a gag order to how many, specific parts of the, things that only the person that committed the crime would know? Yes, gag the hell out of it. Okay. But when it comes to a lot of these details, the fact that you don't let the families in the beginning put out a reward, you give a, I've even showed you guys pictures from Moscow PD of snapshots of vehicles, but there was a stock photo. I mean, I can't imagine being in that community, and that's one of the things that I talked to about the students out there when I went, is what did it feel like for you when you didn't have a description, you didn't have an actual photo of the car, you didn't even know who it was, you didn't even know how many people, but you're supposed to be safe. I can't imagine what that would have felt like as a part of that community living. That's got, to have somebody come in a house in the middle of the morning, early morning, and unalive four people the brutal way that the perpetrator did in that small town, where nothing really happens that much except noise complaints. And all of a sudden you're supposed to be safe. I can't imagine.
That's what I've said too about, granted, there's been a lot of mistakes made, okay? But I'm sure that those police officers never thought they would be doing any more than maybe writing up a wreck or giving out some drinking tickets or, nobody, I mean,
What was going on for generations, you know what I'm
yeah, I mean,
saying?
they never imagined they would be walking into a scene like that.
Right. That's why I think that they showed up ill prepared, honestly, with the DNA dirty gloves and then going in there. I'm just saying, you know what I'm
I
saying?
will never forget being in that chat when you watched that.
I'm just saying, like,
He was like, that's a freeze there.
I mean, it's so obvious, you know, and it's just like, come on, you show up to your first day of class, you know better than that. You know better. You know better than that when you're walking your dog, Nina.
That's the thing about it, though, is,
I'm just saying, you don't pick up the poo and put it in the bag and keep walking with the glove that picked up the poo, do you? Right? From your puppy even. I'm just saying, right?
it might be somebody else's puppy's
Touch
DNA.
your, touch your camera after you pick up the poo and all that. No, you don't. You don't pick up uh, items from the crime scene after you're done photographing them, to further document them. What those forensic investigators do. I mean, I'm just saying.
And that's the thing about it. I'm sure that ISP was probably overwhelmed too.
Well, ISP turned their head at the exact time she touched the dirty glove. You know
Oh
that too?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't get away from the dirty glove now. That was pretty
What was
obvious.
that? What was that? Yeah. Yeah.
Get your
It's
foot off of it.
I'm just saying, like, come on, man. This is about listen, if when it comes to trial, because you know what I've said, this time. When it comes to trial, if the dude, if I'm seeing, listen, it's about justice for the victims, period. I don't care what name it is. I don't care what sex or race or anything. I just want the right person convicted for the crime because that's the only way that the victims' families and communities get justice. And so
That's the only real justice there is.
that's it. But at the same time,
And
I have to announce the gloves too, the dirty. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
And they spent a whole lot of time on that. Was it the kitchen window?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, my gosh.
And then they looked over the half wall, and the lady that was stepping on the DNA dirty gloves, she was kind of like standing in front of the stairwell, and they were both looking down there, and so that's when you knew right away that there was blood on the you know on the handrail and in that area. They already, but this is the thing, since we're talking about that video, this is the thing with that when you watch them, okay, because they also, that camera turns a little bit and it shows you the doorway, okay,
Hmm.
that the person walked through, right, for the
Right.
witness statement. Now, the interesting thing about it is that when they're walking around, they really focused on the living room. They really
Hmm.
focused on something that was on the floor in that back corner where that good vibe light sign is. They really focused down there. But this is the crazy thing. When you see them walking from the kitchen, because you can see, like I said, you can see that little bit of the doorway while you see the living room in that camera shot. They're walking from the kitchen to Dylan's room, and nobody does like a long step over anything. They just walk straight through.
Right.
Now you see them long step while they're in the living room, but they don't long step in that area that you would expect there would be a trail. So that was interesting. When it
Well, he
comes,
vacuumed it with the vacuum.
yeah, that had to be a setup like a Ghostbuster backpack. I mean, it is. That had to, man.
I actually did. I actually put together a picture of it was a pair of the Dickies coveralls,
Yeah.
and I photoshopped a knife on the one side and a handbag in the other one,
Mhm.
because that's what it could look like. I mean, some of those handbags now they've gotten so small and stuff that, you know, I guess my mind would never say, "Oh, that's a knife."
You did a. I saw that video where you. It was like 10 seconds or something.
Is that the one where I did the shadows?
The eyes in the mouth. Oh my gosh, I was out and about when I seen it. So, but I had it replay a couple times. It's the where Koberger's standing in the middle, and you got
Oh yeah,
who was it on the side?
yeah. I have my little playlist. It's called Coburger Funnies.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, it is a funny because I was.
And I've been really surprised that I hadn't had some really nasty comments, but I've been trying to. I
I
mean, they're
thought it was
funny, but
funny.
I've been trying to not be offensive too.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. I laughed my ass off. So
Because there was one that was, it was hilarious, but I was like, no, because that could go towards the girls. And what it was sexual healing, and I was doing it like on his way to prison.
oh, oh,
But then I was like, no, because that could go. And so I wouldn't put it on there.
well, the one that you did put on there, that's a good choice. The one that you did put on there, I did laugh my ass off.
And the one where the funniest one though
She's
is
so
where
talented, people. Go sub.
is where I put two of them together, and one of them is one picture. It says, "Why am I funny?" or something like that, and then it's him singing, "I'm a creep."
Yeah. Yeah, you're crazy.
And
You're
I
crazy.
put it under dark humor.
Yeah. Well, I do want to share something because I thought it was really sweet from the interview since we were talking about it. I wanted to share the little dog video.
Yes.
They said that this was her favorite. This was her favorite. Her favorite thing to do with all the puppies was to uh, do this little dance with all the dogs. So I'm just gonna play this here for a second. Let me see here. I have to mute it because it has music behind it. I couldn't find the original. I have to go through my files sometime, but this is one of them. It was slowed down, and I thought it was cool. But
Oh wow.
this is the dance with the puppies that I guess she did with all of them. So they said that after, oops, they said that after the crime took place, they said after the crime took place that sorry that's when they seen that video and they were like, "Oh gosh, I didn't know that she did." So this is with all the puppies, and so they brought that up, and it was a story that I hadn't heard before. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I just wanted to play that as we get into the show. We're going to be
And
talking.
I'm glad that you did, because I think sometimes we forget that they were people. They're not just murder victims.
Yeah.
I mean, each one of them, they matter. I mean,
Oh, of course, of course. Yeah, it's just really awesome stories like that, and you just wanna. That's what it's about. It's about the energy. And so I thought it was a really cool story, and didn't even know. And it's like, you know what? I'm gonna start off the show with that little puppy video just to show everybody. I do want to ask you one question before we get into the 1126 stuff, though.
okay.
Uh, we're going to be talking about that in a minute, but I want to ask you about this. When it when it when it comes to this whole Ramsland thing, how Koberger had this, what do you call, fascination, obsession, whatever, whatever. When it comes to the Professor Ramsland.
Right.
What what did you think about that?
I'm going to be honest with you. I love everybody that is involved in this.
Thank you so much.
And I'm not going to say story, theory, whatever. But I don't think it had anything to do with Ramsland. If it had anything to do with Ramsland, it would be that she could write a book about him.
Well, this is what I was kind of wondering, okay? Because when it came to, so when Bloom came out with that book, okay, and I got that book just like I did. We read President Green. Shout out to Aaliyah. She actually got it for me back then. But when I was reading Bloom's book, and I think Rosee was with me for that episode, and I started to get through the first couple chapters. And when, right in the very beginning, I got to the chapter of when he was talking about the events and the thoughts that were going on between Brian Cobberger and his dad on the way back, the drive from Pullman to Pennsylvania, and when he was describing things like he was riding in the vehicle with them and stating them as fact, things that could push a narrative. I was just like, I actually quit reading the book, and I didn't even. I took the video down because I didn't even want to. I listen. I'm about the truth, and I'm about the only justice for the victims' families and communities. And the last thing that I want to do is be a part of some kind of like crazy ass stuff that was being said about what was going on. And so when I heard about this right here, about this, how he has this fascination for Dr. Ramsland and how that played into the crimes that took place, I'm just sitting there going, where in the hell are you coming from, man? Because you're so old. You come from a day where journalism, you needed to fact check it 3 times before you even regurgitated it out of your mouth.
Exactly. He
And
knows better.
and now you're just letting it frickin' fly. And I'm just like, bro, is this your last hoorah? I'm gonna write book 1. It's already out. I'm gonna write book 2, and then just keep writing books until I'm gone.
I
I
mean,
just
I'm sure that we all could have a really good narrative and put together a book and make money off of it. But there's something inside some of us that says, you know what? I just don't think that's the thing to do.
no, I'm not even. My book is going to be about my own experience, my
Right.
own experience. Uh, you know, creating a channel just for a talk show. That's why it was called the EvilleCJ show back then. And fighting it for a long time, saying I'm not a true crime channel. I'm not. And it's like, man, but this case and that, the case, the events that took place literally happened days after I created my show. And so it was kind of and then I got to go out there, boots on the ground, thanks to the community. And I got to, you know, talk to each community, students included on both sides, and ask a lot of questions, and be able to take footage to show people the experiences, and to take you there, because there's no other way that you can get there besides Google. And so it's going to be about my own experience. That's what the book's going to be about. But that's still a long ways from now. It's not going to be talking about uh information about like creating some kind of clickbait when it comes to who did or said or whatever. It's not even going to be like that. That's so disrespectful to the victims, especially because the right painting needs to be painted with every
Yeah, and
stroke.
the thing about it is people's trying to paint it. They're trying to paint what they see,
Hmm.
and I mean, it's just, I'll tell anybody, I am not arrogant enough to say that I can sit my fat butt on my couch in Alabama and solve the Idaho 4 case.
No, because none of us have the discovery. If we had the discovery, I bet you a bunch of us sleuthers could get together and, you
Now,
know,
can I sit and do research? Hey, I am a research whiz.
I know. That's
But,
why I told you.
the thing about it is I can do all the research in the world, but they stuff I don't have.
Yeah, I know. That's why that's like when I first met you, you were sending me so much stuff, and I'm like Nina, you got to make a channel. Like
You- and
you,
I tell you what, making a channel is so self-deflating.
it's you have to have the willpower for it. I'll tell you that.
Well, I mean, building it, because it comes slow, unless you find that, unless you get something that people hang on to, you know what I'm saying? And I guess I just haven't had that moment. I mean, because you got to consider all the creators that are doing the Idaho 4.
Yeah, I mean, it it you. I think you're doing great. I don't.
I mean, I'm happy with it. I mean, do I, and really though, the reason I made the channel is I'll tell anybody is because of you. I mean, I've got 6,000 photos. That's
I know.
craziness.
I know. I know. I was.
And I mean,
That's why,
the
because I was like,
documents and everything. I mean, the research and all that. And I start going through there and I'm like, oh no, don't delete that. You might. And I'm like, you ain't done nothing with it in 8 months. Delete that.
no, never delete it.
Well,
Uh,
see, I learned that after I watched that interview with Stacy Chapin.
yeah.
Their November the 17th interview was still when I was before my channel or anything. And, that's when she was making the statements about, the girls hearing stuff and stuff like that. And that was before I knew that things would get scrubbed.
Yeah.
And now you can't find, I mean, that interview has been cut.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so now I'm like, no, I won't ever delete anything.
I know. That's when in the very beginning, it was a few weeks after, the crime took place, and when I seen 1122 become a blur on Google walk around, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I
That's when
better.
you know it's about to go, it's about to happen.
Yeah, so I had to go back to, and it's a good thing because that's so. If you guys see the unblurred version of the walk around, which you'll be able to see, you can make your own pictures and everything. It's really clips of my shows from the very beginning, where I was walking around, looking around, trying to make it make sense. Both on both sides, and so
Well,
um,
that's the reason I contacted you when I was wanting to make the video, wanting to show some of the stuff that I was talking about with the luminol and stuff, because I couldn't understand why they were doing the luminol at the end of Building 52 for the Queen Apartments.
mhm.
And I thought, hey, wait a minute, CJ drives around that. And that's when I came to you and asked if I could use some of your clips
Yeah.
because I wanted to show people exactly where it was.
Yeah, it's that's why they're there. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like that's why I work so hard at it, is because I want people to be, hey, listen, I ain't gonna have all the answers. It takes a community, okay? And so, hey, maybe somebody else. That's why I always talk about puzzle pieces. Maybe you'll come across that same video and see something or you'll see some flash of something. Oh, wait a minute, huh? And all of a sudden we put them together, and it's like, oh, this is starting to make sense. That's what it's about. So uh,
And
that's
that's one thing that I do appreciate learning from you is because, like, if I get something, I'll send it to people, and they're like, you don't have to do that. And I'm like, no, that's what it's about. This is not information just for me.
mm-hmm.
If I get something and I think, I mean, it might help somebody out or help them understand it better or something like that, I'll send it. And, a lot of people are like, no, it belongs to me. I'm keeping it all to myself.
Well, yeah, the only stuff I do that with is stuff that I turn into the 3-letter agencies.
Oh, well, yeah, that's
That's
different.
that's it. Other than that, I'll share it because it's
Yeah,
not
that's what it's about.
there's stuff that I get that I could be coming out with before, and I'm just like, that's not what it's about. Because there's there's a certain way to do this. You know what I'm
You got to
saying?
have some kind of integrity.
Right. And that integrity speaks louder than that. Ooh, I want to be the first. No, it's not.
And
It
I
ain't
would rather my channel grow slowly and
the right way.
organically
Yeah.
than to be a clickbait channel.
Yeah, the right way. So yeah, I was just curious because when I heard this, I was just like, oh my gosh, give me a break, give me a break. So
Like I said, I don't think he was like infatuated with her that way.
right.
If it turns out, because I mean, what side I'm on, and stuff like that. But if he did, if it had anything to do with her, it would be that she would be the one to write the book.
Well, why would listen if he was a creep like that? I mean, think about it like this. Okay, think about it like this. If he was that dude that talked about birthing hips, if he was the dude that was rude and getting kicked out of bars, if he was the dude that was, sexually aggressive, if he was this dude that was an asshole to everybody, if he was this dude that was all of these things, then why in the hell? Why would Katherine Ramslan? Because by that point, it's national. Okay,
Right,
when Cobberger's arrested, it's national news. Why would Katherine Ramslan reach out to Brian Cobberger's family and offer any kind of help that she could offer, risk her career, her respect, her notoriety, and all these things, trying to help somebody if he was really like that? Because
right,
if you teach a class on SKs, and one of your students commits it, you're gonna reflect. Remember, hindsight's always 2020. You're gonna reflect and go, "Oh, oh my gosh, how did I not see it?" Because you're teaching other people about it. So if you didn't get to the point where you're like, "Oh my gosh," and you actually reach out to the family, to me that says something too. There was no fetish with
right.
Katherine Ramslan. And really, it makes me wonder what else. I hope I can't. I don't know if Katherine, which I imagine she's going to be part of the witness list. I can't wait until she sits down and has an interview about her real experiences with how she interacted with Brian Cobberger.
But see, what people forget too is if you'll remember, his time into sales was a lot of it was during COVID.
Right.
So a lot of I mean, as a matter of fact, the instructor that recommended him said she had never met him in person.
Right. Yeah. But
So,
how do
I
you
mean,
become one or two? But that's what this is what's interesting about that is how do you become one or two people that you've only referred, right?
right. Oh,
So
I mean, they said that as far as him being a student, that he was like numero uno as far as
right,
studies and stuff like that. And, going back to the birthing hips, the picture with the thumbs up and stuff like that, a lot of people compare it to a picture of Ted Bundy with he did one with the thumbs up. But also it's oh my gosh, is it American Psycho?
oh
The
yeah,
it's that
probably.
name of it. But the birthing hips is also a line out of a 2012 movie.
I must have. What movie is it? You got my
Oh my
curiosity.
gosh, it's I looked it up. That's the crazy stuff I look up. Why would I look that up? But anyway,
What
but
is it?
yeah, it's a movie and it's a horror movie from 2012 and the guy talks about birthing hips. And I'm like, okay, what if Koberger just didn't know how to talk to people and he would get lines like from movies or something like that?
I mean, if the
I don't know why he would
if,
pick that line.
I mean, well, two things. Number one, I man, that's so disrespectful to tell a lady on the first date. I'm just gonna be honest with you. That is so disrespectful. Number two, you gotta consider the source. This this was in the very beginning. This is I'm just, you're talking about Tinder. What's Tinder?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
uh,
No, I get you.
uh,
I get you.
I'm gonna give you my opinion. It's a bunch of yuck, muck, trash, nasty, blech. Like all of them, all of those sites. I'm sorry. It's just nah. That's just me. That's just me. It's just yeah. So
Yeah.
you got yeah. Listen, I can say more. I'm just trying to keep it. I don't. uh, but yeah. It you got to consider the source too. You know what I mean. So
Oh yeah.
that kind of comment. Maybe she got done watching the movie, or maybe that Nena. Maybe that's the movie that they watched, and
Exactly.
right.
I mean, that's what I'm saying is, I mean, Dark Shadows 2012.
Dark Shadows. Huh.
Yeah.
Who's in that?
Uh,
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Johnny Depp.
Ooh, for real?
It's what it says. It's a vampire movie.
Oh, I probably watched it then because
Oh, and he looks like a vampire in that picture.
I love vampire flicks.
Yeah, it says
Ooh, I did.
vampire expert review. Let's see, Dark Shadows 2012, Johnny Depp.
I bet I did watch it. I'll have to look at
She
the.
has the most fertile birthing hips I've ever seen.
Hold on. Let me get the picture in the background for everybody. Hold on.
You must put those birthing hips to good use.
There we go. So it's Dark Shadows. Dark Shadows.
Yep. Lest your womb will shrivel up and die.
I honestly,
It's a Tim Burton movie.
I love Tim Burton. I love Tim
But I
Burton.
mean, I just thought that was, interesting that came from a movie. Some of the stuff, that he's been compared to was, I think the name of it's American Psycho.
Yeah, yeah, American Psycho.
Because the statement's been made that they wonder if he was listening to Huey Lewis.
Because of the the no splatter
Right.
outfit, and then the weapon as well. Even though it's not the same weapon,
Right.
well, or the weapon that is supposed to be the weapon that committed the crime. So yeah, there's that. Dark Shadows. I'm gonna have to rewatch that.
That's crazy, isn't it? That's
Yeah, it
that's
is.
the kind of crazy research I go down sometimes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and speaking of this, when it comes to this 1126, it was kind of interesting because I don't know why, it was like a couple weeks ago, I started thinking about it again. And then you mentioned something in my chat about a week ago
Yeah.
about 1126. What this is what I'm because he talks about other vantage points. Let me pull up that screenshot real quick here for you. So you can see the exact words. Okay. Let me see. Stop screen share. Screen share. Okay, so right here. Oops. Hold on. So right here, it says this was back when they were talking about first demolishing the house. This was in the end of December. Okay. This is before this was right before the New Year's it was December 28th, I think was the exact date. Right before the New Year. And they were talking about demoing the house, and that upset the Consulus family, and they came and they had this statement like, if the house itself was a target, which was the theory from the beginning, which is the supposed reason the University of Idaho called off their campus-wide warning while BK was still not apprehended. Why was the house a target and its exit points and the driveway configuration for a vehicle to enter and exit turnaround vantage points of other camera evidence pointed towards the house? And so anytime that there's discussion or anytime we're showing photos when it comes to this trial or has been with this case, it's always been from 11/12.
Right.
And so when this post came out, and I think I did a show the next day, the day after, I had saved it, took a screenshot and saved it, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. I didn't really put too much, but then when I did it on a show, and I was really like dissecting each paragraph at a time, and then when I seen that statement about vantage points of other camera evidence pointed towards the house, that's when I went back to my footage when I was there. I went back to the Google guy walkarounds that I did. I went back to all the news crew interviews and videos that they did in that neighborhood. I kind of went through and I'm like, there's no other cameras across the street from 1122. And with that, I'll show you what area I'm talking about. Let me pull up the map.
Hey, CJ.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't know why, my phone has stopped charging.
Uh-oh.
And I'm down to 47%. If I go out and get on another phone, can I still use that same link?
Yeah, it's the same one. That's your specific link.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem. So I'll show you guys, let me see the house here. Or the neighborhood, I should say. So when you're looking at this, so I went back through all the footage, not only the Google guy, my own footage. I went through all the news interviews footage, and I was like, well, who has a camera right here? Right? Because it's pointed towards the house, and I went through all of it, and I didn't find any cameras whatsoever. Because you got to remember, how many times did I drive down this and turn to the left? I mean, so many times. I had so much footage. How many times did I come up and down these roads? How many times did I turn and come up this road? How many times did I go around the Queen Road apartments? How many times did I park in this parking lot? All the way back here. How much time I spent just in this area alone? Oh, shoot. Hold on. It created a new one for you. There we go. Are you there? It might take a minute to load. So that's when I started to go, well, wait a minute. What other camera? Then during that episode, as I'm reading it, I'm like, holy crap. Because I was looking for this. I was looking actually through the whole neighborhood. What surveillance off of the Google guy? And then what changed after I got there? So I was going through the whole neighborhood looking to see who didn't have a camera before, who had a camera after, who had a camera during the time that the crime took place, because any of these cases I cover, any of these locations I go to, that's the first thing that I do. And you can see with all of the work that I've done in all these other cases of where I go. Number one, surveillance. What cameras would have captured what? What cameras existed that don't exist anymore? What areas didn't have a camera that do have one after? All play a certain part in trying to figure out what direction to go to. And so when we're talking about, wait a minute, there's no other camera that was over here, but right here, and I'll show you another picture. And this is basically the camera. And this is basically where the camera would have picked up what. So you got the camera right here at the back. It's obviously going to pick up to the right because there's no obstructions. It's going to pick up everything here, and then it's going to hit the trees. And the trees are thick. I could literally, when I was standing behind with just a little bit of shrubbery, I was standing behind, and I could literally be hidden, but yet see everything through the little cracks in the bushes. And so the trees, the shrubbery, it's very thick right there. And so now, not to say that it couldn't get some kind of, when you're talking 3, 4 in the morning, yeah, it's going to have a lot of, it'll have lights that are showing up, but this is the important thing, is it would also, because the view obviously would go to here. Okay. But really, when you're talking about the drive, the drive, the pulling in, the leaving, and specifically this area right here, the camera would have picked up both sliding glass doors, and it would have picked up that deck. Also, at the same time, it's got a great vantage point of any kind of entrance that comes through this path. The only spot that this camera does not have that it could pick up is right here in this area, and then along the right side of the house. Now, when you're talking about this part right here, literally, it's just a couple feet high, and then it just drops right down. Are you there?
Well, it says I'm offline. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hold on.
Oh, I'm back online. Okay.
There we go. And so this area right here is literally, it's like feet higher, and then it just drops, and then you have the side of the house, and there's no windows. It's blocked by trees. It really is the perfect access to try and get through there. So that's what this camera would have picked up. So I'll go ahead and let you discuss some things. Do you want me to show you that picture I was talking about now?
Yes, and I want to know what the surprise is.
Wait. Okay. Well, how about this? Okay. Nena sent me a whole bunch of pictures. I told her, send me whatever. We'll share them on the show. And there was one picture she sent me, and thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. And also, sub up to Nena as well. Here's her link again. I'll be dropping it throughout the show.
And floral oak is exactly why I started looking into that. Her statement she just made, because that's the house where the painting thing went, the car. And in that body cam, she says that she is going to put cameras up.
Well, it's. I mean, you look at what it would pick up. You know, that's
But
without the obstructions, it's picking up everything except for this side right here where it would be perfect cover.
well, see too, if you'll remember Olivia making the statement of they saw the girls get out of the car. There's no way to see the
Yeah,
girls get out of that car.
right. Or take Murphy out. Right?
Exactly.
Where are you going to take Murphy out? On the third floor deck, which we've heard, is a possibility because we've heard what we would leave him out on the deck by himself, whatever. But also, they're gonna walk down. They're not gonna go down to the basement floor and go out the back. This door right here. They're
Right.
gonna get Murphy. They're gonna bring him down, walk out of the kitchen, and stand here at the patio.
Right.
You're exactly right, Nena. And so when it comes to the vantage point that this camera would have had, you got to think about it like this too. Remember when the crime took place, and that same night, it was November 13th 2022, but it was PM, because around that time period, and trust me, I know I had to hurry up and get a lot of work in before it hit 4 o'clock, because once it hit 4 o'clock PM local time, it was literally dark, and
Right.
it's like, dude, what the hell? But you got to think that the earth is tilted at its axis the most away from the sun, and you're all the way up by Canada, so what do you expect? It's going to get dark early as hell. But the thing was, as you were looking at it and you're like, okay, you remember the first night that there was photos taken, and you remember those bulbs that were nailed up
Yep.
right above the patio. So when it comes to this camera and those bulbs, whether you're on the third floor deck or whether you're on the second floor, when it comes to either one of those patio doors, that camera is going to fire off because of the light that is being produced from those bulbs right there. Now, if there wasn't any light from those bulbs in that, on that deck nailed up, then the camera might not, because it's still a decent distance for a camera. But when you have all that darkness there, it's as dark as it gets in Idaho. Somebody's wearing dark clothing, they might not trigger that camera. But I can guarantee you, that night that the crime, or the morning that crime took place, and those bulbs being on, if somebody got through that third floor sliding glass door, if somebody got through that sliding glass door on the second floor, it would have been caught on that camera.
Absolutely.
And this is how they wouldn't have been caught on camera leaving, and how law enforcement would say, we don't know how they even left the crime scene. Then they could literally, and this is where I think maybe possibly Bethany Funk's exculpatory evidence towards Brian Cobberger might come in, because from the very beginning, you guys saw the red spot on the roof the whole time. I'm sitting there going, from the first time I'm coming across it, why is nobody checking out that ladder? Right? Like, there's a ladder.
That ladder has been laying down forever.
Uh-huh.
And then that day is standing straight up.
You know what, Nena? The ladder was still there when I went there a year later.
Oh my gosh.
On my year anniversary, when I showed up, I said, oh my, that was the most disturbing part, Nena, was when I showed up that year anniversary, and I look over and I'm like, that ladder ain't even effing moved.
No, come to find out, they didn't. The only thing they used the ladder for was to put the crime tape to.
Isn't that some BS? And so so how would they not know how for sure how the person left the crime scene? Because, like I said, and like Nena's bringing up too, this camera would have picked it up just for the reasons we explained. But the reason they wouldn't know is if that person really did leave out of Ethan and Xana's window, because they could literally climb on that little part of the roof there and hop down not even 10 feet into some gravel. It's a soft landing, trust me. It's no thing. Okay, and then you turn and you walk around the side of the house and you come up this way, and then you leave the crime scene that way, and or the door. But I really think that maybe the exculpatory evidence that might be dealing with Bethany is the fact that maybe they did, or he or she, whoever they did, left through this area. Not that she heard them go through the door, but what I think is because if you see the picture that shows that part of the house right after the crime took place, when reporters started showing up, you have those vertical blinds that are hanging down. One of the vertical blinds, it was stuck open, which makes me think she looked out that vertical blind, saw something she didn't, shocked her. When you adjust those vertical blinds just a little bit, jerk, they actually stay there. Like you have to pop it back into place. And so it makes me wonder, did this person really, you put all that together, did they really walk out of the window or the door there? And she looked out her bedroom window and saw somebody that maybe didn't even match the description of the person that she saw look out at that period of time. So I don't know. It's all very interesting to me, but at the same time, this would have what a vantage point, especially up here too. Especially,
Another thing too is Steve made the statement that the reason Jack D was cleared so quick was because he was on camera going in his front door.
yeah. Steve said he would have had to avoid being on camera. Yeah, because
And
when
so if there's a camera that's got him going in the front door, 1112 wouldn't do that.
no,
I mean, the way the angle is, but
no,
1126 would.
yeah, because and yeah, not even over here, because
Right, right.
this is what I was like. If you go back to you can see, just type in EvilleCJ unblurred 1122, okay, or and you'll see whenever you're walking around up, really from when you get to right here where it says road, not the king, but where it says road, when before everything was gone, you get to this spot right here, and everything beyond, so everything from here over turns to 2007. Okay, so when you're walking up to this spot right here with the little Google guy walk around, and you're looking at this house right here, it looks completely different than it does currently. So back then it shows a door that was actually over here, and then it has that, it's like there's so many trees and it's really hard to see. They really did tear down a lot of trees in this area, but you see it's a different kind of layout. And then what's different is when I got here, this is where I would normally park at, is where this blue car is, or right next to it. And when I'm standing there and I see how close 1126 is, because I literally have 1126 in my video, in the viewfinder, 1126, and then part of the cement patio from the sliding glass doors is literally in my frame at the same time. That's how close these two houses are. Okay, and so when I'm looking over to the left, you can see that this is all redone. So this little path area right here, this is all redone too, and actually their door is over here on the side now. And so Steve is right. If he was going to leave, because this is a completely different height, this is way higher right here. This side of the house is way higher than this right here. It's like 12, 13 feet lower. So they literally have to, like Steve said, he would have had to, if he was leaving his house, he would have had to end up being on camera because there's a door here and there's a door right over here on the side. And he would have had to be on camera because he's not going to jump down here and break his ankles.
Right.
So he would have to go this way to leave or go this way to go do anything.
Well, when I heard Steve, I had read in some of my research that Adam and Jack D was caught going in the house on camera, but I never was able to confirm it. And then when Steve said the other night that Jack D was on camera and that the only way that he could have left without being on camera would have been to climb out one of those windows that went to the first roof.
Mm-hmm.
And but he also said that the camera would have caught that too.
Yep. Yeah,
And
because
1112 would not do that. It does not have that vantage point.
No, it wouldn't. And so this is the only one that could be pointed at the house, but also capture everything that is being claimed, whether it was the girls walking inside, it was the girls taking Murphy out, it was Steve's statement about another vantage point that is right, towards the house that discusses evidence. And, you put all of these things together and it's like, yeah. So, and then the bulbs too that are nailed to the third floor deck.
And I mean, that's like before the demolition, Steve did that interview with Banfield, and the statement was that he knows where he parked. He knows, he has seen things, that others have not seen. And I'm like, wait a minute, what did you see? And then he starts talking about what window he was looking at, and with the house being gone, that you can't describe that.
Mm-mm. No.
And the only way that you can know, like, where he parked or how long he was there is through another camera.
Yeah, that points right to it, like he said.
Because, see, I've got a picture where all that greenery, some of it's died off, and you can see more. You can see straight through to the back light a little better.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I was trying to find that picture with the bulbs. I don't know. I have so many different folders. I want to share this real quick, and then I want to get into everything you got that you want to talk about when it comes to this 1126. But I'm going to give you that surprise photo here. Okay, so you sent me a whole bunch of pictures. Okay, and when you sent me one, now, like, okay, so I discussed it. We covered this video a couple times, a long time ago. Rosee actually was going through it, one of the old videos a couple weeks ago, and she was like, do you guys remember this documentary? It was the UK trial by TikTok documentary that came out, like, real early in it. And it was like, yeah, there was this creepy dude that was on there, right? And as we were watching it, and he was discussing, and it's kind of creepy because oh my god, I bet. Okay, so we were discussing it, and I'm sitting there going, well, he's talking about his vantage point, okay? He's talking about how close he is, all right? And I'm looking at the walls, and I'm like, this doesn't look like Enon's apartment. It doesn't look like the wood paneling and the high ceilings and all that other stuff that he was discussing. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. What? Where could he have been staying then? And I'm like, well, maybe one set of Queen Road apartments is renovated, more modern, and the other one's kind of old school from the 70s, wood paneling, whatever.
I thought I recognized that window.
And when I seen that window, Nena, when you sent me that window, not only the window, but when I seen the updated like you see in this background, I was like, oh shit, I got a little surprise for Nena. So yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that window right there, because that's exactly what took me to this. Okay. And so I want to play, it's about a, I don't know, 4 or 5 minute clip. Okay. Because I can tell you as much as I want to tell you that this dude is creepy as shit, but I'm just going to let you listen for yourself. And when it gets to this part of the interview, and he said, and this is the very end where he's talking, and he goes, it's just sad. So
Okay,
when
I'm ready.
so when he's making this face, he's saying, okay, so I'm going to say it like he's saying it. He goes, and it's just sad.
Wow.
So when you hear sad, that's the freaking face the dude's making. Okay?
Oh my gosh.
Yes, Nena. I had a little surprise for you.
I am surprised.
It came out of
See
nowhere.
there's those pieces of the puzzle.
It came out of nowhere because I was literally, I was maybe, at the time before I bumped it back, I was literally like, I don't know, an hour and a half or so from the show starting. And that's when I seen that picture and I was like, oh, damn, maybe it won't be such a quick show. Okay, so check this out. Here's the link to this video. And I'm going to, here, I'm going to display the channel in a second. Hold on 1 second. So here's the link. All right, let me go to the history so I don't mess it all up. And I'm going to share the channel with you. Go sub to it. There's a link. You guys, seriously, you need to save that link to your playlist. Now, here's the thing. Because when Rosee reached out to me, because me and Rosee first covered it when it first came out. Okay. Now, the channel, I don't know when, but the channel had actually removed the video. But this channel here is the one that has it now. Now, you'll see, I'll tell you what the channel was, but seriously, Rosee's like, CJ, remember when we first covered this? And she's like, this was an interesting, documentary. And I was like, yeah. And I started to look it up, to see where it was at. And I couldn't find it. And I said, I can't find it at all. And all of a sudden, nobody could find it. And it's like, yeah, they took their channel down. They just got rid of it. And I was like, wow, that's crazy, because it's it's like right from the beginning. So I was shocked that it was gone. But shout out to this channel, FD True Crime. And I'm just going to play this little snippet for you. We're like 4 minutes, 53 seconds into the video. Right, Caddy? It's gone. We're 4 minutes, 53 seconds into the video. But check this out, okay? This is just this part of his interview. And we covered some of the other people connected to this guy, okay? Because this is what's crazy. We talked about the 2022 Scream screening. This guy that we're going to watch right here was in school for film, which is the same department that promoted the Scream 2022 screening in Moscow just a couple weeks before the crime took place. And then I show you all the other people that are really creepy too when it comes to that whole film department. I'll drop the link to that episode in a second. We covered this guy on that episode too because he is part of that film society. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, Nena. All right, here we go. Check this out if you haven't seen it yet.
There was something about this crime that put a global spotlight on the small town of Moscow.
It's nuts.
Sunday, November 13th, 1:04 p.m. Moscow PD investigating a homicide on King Road near campus. Suspect is not known at this time. Stay away from the area and shelter in place.
All right, I'm going to pause it real quick because I want you. He seems like a normal fella, right? It totally turns dark after this. Okay.
I don't know if there's any normal fellas there.
You'll see what I'm saying in a minute, Nena, because it goes dark real quick.
I just didn't know what I was opening up when I sent you that picture.
Oh, just wait. We might have to have a part 2, Nena. Just see how normal he looks.
Sunday, November 13th, 1:04 p.m. Moscow PD investigating a homicide on King Road near campus. Suspect is not known at this time. Stay away from the area and shelter in place. Obviously, the first initial response is, that is right next to me.
That's right. So that's when I was like, oh, okay. He was right next to it. All right. And then here it's like, okay, dude seems, it's in the beginning. He seems, maybe he's scared, maybe he's a little nervous. I would be too. He seems pretty normal. And then all of a sudden it just goes, oh, what?
Is Tony. Tony was a neighbour of the 4 students and woke up to a crime scene on his doorstep.
The crime scene here at the home of the 4 University of Idaho students has been very active all day long.
The whereabouts of the killer and the knife used are still unknown.
What's up, Rosee?
So there would have been police cars in this entire line, security vehicles, crime scene tape everywhere. So it was overwhelming.
Okay, so you see where they're walking down from, right?
Yeah.
They're walking down from Queen Road Apartments.
Right.
Going in front of 1122. He's discussing everything that was in front of him, everything that was taking place. Of course, he's not gonna not have eye contact because he's leading her where he's going. He's kind of explaining everything. Now, pay attention to the non-eye contact, the facial movements, the body movements, and especially the words that are spoken.
Crime scene tape everywhere. So it was overwhelming.
What was it like waking up on that first morning?
Okay, what was it like waking up that first morning is the question she asks him.
After the tragedy?
It was really bad. Coming up that staircase.
It was really bad, see? What was it like the first morning? And what is it like the first morning something like that would take place in your neighborhood? If that took place in your neighborhood, Nena, and it was some time had gone by and they said, you had some lady coming out, what was going on that morning? It would take you back to that morning.
Oh, I'm taken back by the coming up the stairs. Why would he be coming upstairs? I mean, if he's over there at 11:27, what? I'm confused. Okay, yeah.
No,
I'm
no,
with you.
no.
I'm with you, CJ.
No, this is what's crazy is it's
And when is that called a staircase?
no, all the windows are gonna look like that
But
mostly.
I mean, he called those cement steps a staircase.
Yeah.
No, see, that's just something I picked up on. Why are you going to
But
be calling it a staircase?
wouldn't it take you back to that morning, like, when you're like walking out, what was it like that morning? It was bad. There
It was
was
bad.
there was crime scene tape over here, there was a tripod, and there was this and that. You're talking about the stairs, you're describing it like you're really walking out there, right?
Right.
And so because again, you're looking at where they're walking from. Okay, they're walking from up the street, up the hill.
Gotcha. Okay, I understand now.
Right, 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 right. And so, but when she asks, what was it like that morning? It's going to take you mentally back to that morning. If you're describing all of that, you're going to feel it emotionally, right?
Right.
You're going to feel,
Yeah, it's going to be more than it was bad.
you're going to feel scared. You're going to go back to that morning that you're describing, because you're very descriptive in describing it. Now watch.
Crime scene tape everywhere. It was overwhelming.
What was it like waking up on that first morning after the tragedy?
It was really bad. Coming up that staircase, there would be a gazebo right here, like a tripod right here.
He laughed. He just said it was really bad, and then he laughs about the stuff being there. Now watch. You know why I think he laughed, Nena?
Now, I have a question. Is this the same guy that put out that they had the camera behind 1122 and then he had to come back and recant that?
It might have been, because
Because, in the
he's part of
beginning,
the
it came
film.
out that they had a camera, that the film students had a camera.
Yeah, on that pole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember hearing that in the
And then he
beginning.
came back and recanted that.
Had a camera on that pole, and he's part of the film society.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's creepy. Watch. So he laughs when he's talking about the tripod and everything that was there after the stairs. He starts giggling. What would make, and listen, if you're going back to that morning and somebody's like, what was it like that morning? And you're going back to that morning, why would you laugh when you're talking about all the overwhelming stuff that's there because of the crime? Why? Because maybe none of them know that it was you.
Well, now, just to keep it politically correct, there are people that laugh during stressful situations.
Well, yes. I mean, I laugh when somebody falls off their bike and I don't mean to. I'm not laughing when I'm thinking about 4 people getting,
This is true.
I'm going back to how, especially if they didn't have any description, didn't know who, how many, where, like nothing.
I don't think I would have remembered there was a tripod standing there.
Oh man, I can't imagine. But watch, this isn't. So listen to his giggle here.
This entire line,
God.
security vehicles, crime scene tape everywhere.
Crime
It was
scene.
overwhelming.
Overwhelming.
What was it like waking up on that first morning after the tragedy?
It was really bad. Coming up that staircase, there would be a gazebo.
You hear him giggle? There'd be a gazebo. Isn't that like, why would you laugh? She just asked you.
That's creepy there.
She just asked you what it was like that morning.
Crime scene tape everywhere. It was overwhelming.
What was it like waking up on
Right
that
away.
first morning after the tragedy?
It was really bad. Coming up that staircase, there would be a gazebo right here.
He's smiling. He's smiling. He's so smiling.
There would be a gazebo right here.
He's smiling. Okay. Who laughs and giggles when you're thinking about that morning? 10 seconds earlier, she just asked him that question. You notice how he hasn't had any eye contact since he was sitting in front of her in the apartment. There's watch how little there is after this too.
Like a tripod right here, people standing, lights right down on here. It was very grim.
You know why I think that he wasn't giving her eye contact? Because he already was laughing, and then he's like, dude, I got to keep my shit together because I shouldn't be laughing. So if I look at her, then I'll really get distracted. I got to focus. I got to focus on saying all this stuff because if I look at her, oh, it's over because, I'm not prepared. Nobody talked to anybody really. So there's a little bit more.
It was no longer a metaphorical spectacle.
More laughing. He's still laughing.
Yeah, I can't believe that he's laughing. Oh my gosh.
Still laughing.
What a picture.
The tragedy.
It was really bad. Coming up that staircase, there would be a gazebo right here, like a tripod right here, people standing, lights right down on here. It was very grim. It was no longer a metaphorical spectacle. It quickly turned into something literal, right? You ascend.
Literal, right? Like, I'm like, what the hell? Literal. Like, what is that? Like like it was a dream and then it became fruition. Literally. It literally took place. I had played it in my head over and over and over, and then it literally happened.
It was very grim. It was no longer a metaphorical spectacle. It quickly turned into something literal, right? You ascend into this, just like a circus.
It must have been really...
There's the bulbs. No eye contact. He's still avoiding it.
Wow.
It's crazy, huh?
Really hard to kind of get to grips with what actually happened. And
so I didn't really get to fully process it living here, but now that I spent some time alone and I can look back on it, it was really heavy.
Really? So now he barely even looked at her, and now all of a sudden he went from giggling and laughing and all excited to then all of a sudden it got dark.
Just like a circus.
It must have been really, really hard to kind of get to grips with what actually happened. And
so I didn't really get to fully process it living here, but now that I spent some time alone and I can look back on it, it was really heavy.
So this is another thing that stuck out to me. Now that there's been some time to process it and I'm alone.
Was he not alone to begin with?
Right? And where are you not alone, Nena?
Yep.
And why wouldn't you be alone anymore up here? Because that person that was up here is gone.
Right. Wow.
So watch this again. It gets all dark. As soon as he comes back here, it's all dark now. Because now I'm remembering how I got in.
Lights right down on here. It was
my opinion.
It was very
speculation. You can see it on the bottom of the ticker down there. Everything should be considered speculation. Unless there's...
You know, CJ, at this point, if everyone doesn't know that all we have is speculation, I mean, that's the reason in one of my videos, I was like, look, y'all, this is the last time I'm saying it because y'all know it's speculation. I wasn't there.
Well, this is another thing too, Amanda Smith. Isn't it weird? Ascend is a strange word to choose.
Exactly. Yeah, because dang, Amanda, that was really good. Because ascend, I mean, come on now.
Yeah,
what do you put with ascending?
I'm telling you, there's just in this little couple minute clip here. Now it's turning dark. Now, when you hear him say, "Now that I've been alone," it's like, what, bro? And look at how, because he's sad now because she's no longer there. He used to obsess where he wanted to stop thinking about her and he couldn't. That's how much she lived up here. And now that he's alone, look at how sad and dark everything is.
Very grim. It was no longer a metaphorical spectacle. It quickly turned into something literal, right? You ascend into this, just like a circus.
Oh.
It must have been really, really hard to kind of...
And his hand movements, too. He's like, you ascend.
Spectacle. It quickly turned into something literal, right? You ascend into this, just like a circus.
It must have been really, really hard to kind of get to grips with what actually happened. And
so I didn't really get to fully process it living here. But now that I spent some time alone and I can look back on it, it was really heavy. This is a spot that was otherwise innocent became sad.
Oh, I can't. Did you hear it? That's the part where it got really freaking dark. Sad.
Okay, so now if I'm going to do a documentary, how would I pick the people that I'm going to interview? It would be people that would probably come to me, right?
I'm sorry, I got chills when he says that shit.
It's sad.
Just the whole from the ascend part, you know? Right, that's why I took that photo. I was like,
she's looking like, who am I interviewing?
Oh, I feel like it's already scary being there. I can imagine for a fate. Oh, but yeah, this whole part, and then how he ends it. It's just like, oh my gosh.
Grim. It was no longer a metaphorical spectacle. It quickly turned into something literal, right? You ascend into this, just like a circus.
It must have been really, really hard to kind of get to grips with what actually happened. And
so I didn't really get to fully process it living here. But now that I spent some time alone and I can look back on it, it was really heavy.
Really? Does that sound? Does it look heavy on his face? Look at his face when he does it. Look at his face. Watch.
He seems to be discussing it
really
pretty lightly.
It's just nothing. And then, oh gosh, this part.
This is a spot that was otherwise innocent became sad.
Oh golly, CJ says put him in jail just for that.
Here,
and there's that window.
Yeah, let me go back to that.
I can't believe this.
There's that damn face. And let me blow it up for you.
And see, that's so sad because you could see that face.
Like if he was actually committing the...
Yeah.
That's rage.
Yeah.
That is freaking rage. When you got Elvis lip popping.
That or you got meth mouth.
or you need to drink some water. You need some or you need some water in your life. Yeah, that right there.
See, I would like to know now if he's part of that group.
Well, I'm going to show you. I'll show you a screenshot because this is where we break it all down. If you go ahead and click on the link if you guys want to. Me and Rosee broke it down again. I was like, it's only right to have Rosee on again as we're breaking it down because she was the one that we did the show with in the very beginning when we first covered it, and I wanted to make sure that she was there so we could, kind of go through some of the other stuff that we were showing you, specifically the film society connections and all of that when it comes to not only, as you see, the people that live right there, these people right here that are in that film society, and some other cast of characters that are included in that as well, because I'm sure when you first heard about it, I'm sure everybody in chat when you first heard about it, how there was a special screening of Scream just a couple weeks before the crime, and it's kind of interesting. That person also snuck into a home, and that person also, that it was inspired from. Danny Rawlings also used a K-bar during most of his crimes. Most of the time, he would sneak in their house, hide, and then commit that crime with a K-bar. And so it was always pretty interesting how those two kind of went along. Let me see. Let me go, because somebody had asked who it was. Let me go to my photos. Okay, it was. Gosh, what was his name? Murillo, right? Yeah, this guy right here. Okay, so this is, and then this shows the actual, somebody had interviewed him from the residence, and that's King Road resident and U of I senior Tony Murillo. He was a senior at the time. He had a very high part in the society for the film, for the university. And there's a lot more connections. So
I know what I'll be deep diving tonight.
Look him up. Let's have a part 2 on this, Nena.
I'm going to be deep diving.
Yes, so there you go. Let's have another show. But in the meantime, so there you go, Amanda. I think Amanda had asked who it was. There you go. Trust me, before we do our part 2, click on that link, because we go through a lot in that episode, and I would watch that one before you watch me and Nena get into the next one, because it's going to make you understand even more of how creepy this shit is. Okay.
Well, I mean, because it's really weird that, that's one of the first things I remember is, the film is him coming out and saying that they had a camera on the pole, and then he came back and he debunked himself.
Well, this is, what I bet he did. I mean, this is, of course, like I said, speculation on the bottom. Who steals a cookie and then comes out and says, I didn't steal a cookie? Because
basically, you didn't know a cookie was what was stolen.
Well, the guy didn't seem too bright, right? In that interview that we just showed you, he laughed. Okay, he was giggling about it. He was, as soon as she asked him that question, giggle, 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 until all of a sudden everything turns dark. Okay?
And it gets sad.
I wouldn't be surprised, because listen, you have a good vantage point and you can see a lot of stuff that's going on down there on that patio, both of them. And I wouldn't be surprised, Mr. Film Guy, because when you're driving back there, it is so freaking dark that you can't even see your damn hand in front of you. It gets that dark. And I bet you he climbed up that damn pole, attached a camera that nobody frickin' even noticed, and it had it hooked up to his Wi-Fi, so he could literally watch and zoom in on the patio. And oh my god, I can't imagine the kind of sick ass shit that this dude probably did with a camera. Just think, like, when you're thinking about a Wi-Fi, look, it can be powered solar. It can go Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is going to reach your damn apartment. At the same time, you can literally zoom in and watch and record and all this other stuff. I can't imagine what this dude would have had on some kind of electronic device. All of the. So.
Well, CJ, you just put my picture of the window in a whole new perspective.
Yeah. So when I seen that, and let me go back to that photo. When I seen this photo, literally hour and a half before the show, something like that, and I seen that photo that you shared. I instantly went back to this, and I was like, "Oh shit!" All right, so let me pull up that because let's get to all the stuff you want to talk about. Let me pull up that photo. Where? Oh, I'm in the wrong folder. Hold on. That's why I didn't see it. Okay, so let me. Shit, where's that? Where did it go?
Good night, typically.
Oh, here it is. Sorry, some of my photos are in the middle. Okay, so let me stop this. Now, this is the photo that she sent me. So when I
Wow.
when I seen this photo, my brain went, "Wait a minute. How many?"
Where have I seen those windows before?
Well, how are these photos?
But look at that. Okay, you know the picture that I sent you that it has the side view of 1126, and you can see the step through gate and everything, and you can see 1122. I sit there and I wondered who took that picture of that side of the side picture of 1126, and then I'm sitting there looking at that window going, oh wow.
All right, so let me pull up that photo. What this photo did show me is that this is because I was sitting there going, did Queen Road Apartments renovate or something? Because
Right.
Enon has the high ceilings, wood paneling.
Right.
All the Queen Road Apartments were supposed to look like that. But the way this guy's talking and the way this guy's walking, it leads you to believe that he actually lives right next to the building, which is in Queen Road Apartments. When
Right.
I seen this window, it tells me it could be you could literally be looking for that window behind him, and it could be throughout that whole neighborhood.
Right.
Because of all the renovation that took place. But when it comes to this right here, this is also interesting as well. Here, hold on. This. Hold on 1 second. So here's this photo.
That's the one I was talking about because I was like, well, who takes a picture like that?
Hold on a second. Let me pull up another photo because let me see. Okay, so let me pull up the map so everybody can see it real quick so you see what we're talking about. All right, so you see that right there. Now let me show you. I wish there was an easier way to switch these. I apologize. Let me show you this. So you see the side. Here's 1126, right? 1126 Queen Road. You see how the side, you're looking out the left side.
Right.
Okay? You're looking out the left side and you're looking this way. That's where it's going to show the sliding glass door. Actually, let me pull up this photo because it actually shows the house.
And the thing about it is, as good as you can see the house during the day, at night with those lights on and the patio and stuff like that, you can see everything.
Yep. And so you see how you're looking at this side of the house directly back. You see how it has all of that in view. So let me go back to this. All right. So we go back to this. You know that is right there.
Right.
Yeah, they did a lot of renovation in that whole area. I mean, even where 1112 was back in the day, where that parking lot was at, where all those cars park, that was
Yeah.
filled with trees too.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, like if you watch the unblurred, you know what? We're talking about this area already. Let me pull up the unblurred. Now I ended up having like, oh my gosh, it was like 7 hours of me walking around, but I just put it's like a 20-minute video that I put together, cut it down from like 7 hours. So here's this. Let me pull that up. Here's the link for the video if you want it for yourself. And then if you're just watching on screen, that's what you'll type to get the video. All right, so let me just go ahead and play it. And then you'll see we're not going to watch all 20 minutes. But you'll see as I'm kind of walking through that spot right there, I think I walked through there right in the beginning. So this is from the very beginning. That's 1120. That's where the end of King Road is. Okay. That's what 1126 used to look like from King Road back in 2007. Now you can.
Yeah, when I was looking it up, I was like, that's not what that house looks like.
Yeah. And where 1112 is at, there's so many trees. But yeah, this is, and then especially 1112, there's a lot of good spots that I'll get 1112, like walking around in this area. There's a lot of good spots. I'll be zooming in with Google Guide. I get some good front shots of 1126. But basically, yeah, it's going around all of these areas. Look at all those trees. Those are all cleared out. They literally came in there and just knocked a whole bunch of trees down. But it's before all that stuff was blurred out. For that. So let me pull up another one of your photos.
That just goes to prove don't delete.
That's what it taught me.
It'll be gone one day.
Yeah, because I went back and I was like, damn, they blurred the house. Why would they blur the house? Like you could only go so far as it was anyway. I'll go a little bit around the neighborhood too. I think I go up Walenta, Taylor Avenue,
And Walenta, oh my gosh, that house on Walenta that has the like the stumps sitting there.
Yeah.
The perfect view of 1122 from sitting at that vantage point. I was like, my gosh, no wonder you can see the cars that go up behind there.
Mm-hmm. Even the house that got blurred out on Walenta Ridge Road,
Right.
Look into if you dig up who lives in that property, you'll shit.
Yeah, that would be that MM.
But yeah, it gives you, it's just walking around unblurred before it was blurred out. So yeah, that's what taught me. Shoot, I better start recording shit, man, because this is a great view too. Like, oh my gosh, if they had a camera that was pointed in that direction. But at the time, the reason that I had to go back to it, because somebody's like, oh yeah, they got camera on the back of 1112, that points at the parking lot. And I'm like, in the very beginning, I'm like, what? So then I had to go back, and that's when I was like, oh shit, it's all gone. It's disappeared. You can't even go up that road anymore. I'm going to have to go back and go to my old footage. And so that's what made me kind of do this and put it together. But I never had released it. It was just something that I had for members for a long time, and then I just recently put it out there a few weeks ago, the unblurred version. Let me see. Now, you'd mentioned, what was the other picture that you mentioned besides the 1126 side view?
Now there is a picture that I sent you of 1126, and I've got camera question mark, because I was going to see if you thought that could be a camera on 1126, or if it's maybe just motion lights.
Yeah, those are motion lights.
Okay.
Let me pull that up so I can show everybody. But yeah, if you missed the link, here's the link for that. All right, let me pull up that photo. Let me see here. All right, so this photo right here. Yeah, those are motion lights.
Okay, so if that's motion lights, so we're ruling that out as a camera, right?
Yep.
So the only other camera that could catch Jack D and Adam going into those apartments would be 1126.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know there's other people talking about other cameras and stuff, and I mean, that's cool. But this is, it's this right here. Because when you break it down, what Steve G said, this captures it all.
Yeah, that's the reason that, especially the other night when he mentioned the camera watching Jack D, I was like, well, that's just another vantage point, because she would have it on the front too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so when he mentioned that, and see, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was WSU Kim that said something about him being on camera.
I mean, you would, unless you went through the door on
I can't go through all WSU Kim's.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, well, I know. I put I clipped together the times that she was on our shows, and I put all of it to. I edited a lot of other stuff, out of it, chit chat and different things like that. But it was one right after another. And trust me, it was like 7 hours, I think, that live was, where I did a collection. I just streamed the whole thing, a collection of it. So yeah, it was a lot. But the only way that they wouldn't, with the bulbs and how these cameras trigger, the only way that person would have been able to get in without being caught on camera is literally if they climbed up the ladder and was right up against the corner of the house. Because you got to remember that the light, see this right here, see this spot right here, okay? The light is gonna illuminate right here, okay? So this part that sticks out right here creates a shadow that goes back this way, okay? So when you have the lights right here and they're going this way, it creates this small triangle of a shadow right here that it would be completely dark where that ladder was at. So they either, if they didn't get caught on camera, they either climb the ladder and gain access through the second floor window, or gained access through the first floor door. There's only two ways.
God, can you imagine? Can you imagine if Bethany found out that he came through the front door, and that she was the only one on that bottom floor? I mean,
I don't think he did.
I don't either. But I'm just saying. I mean, just you can't, and I know a lot of people have a lot to say about the girls and everything, but I personally believe they're completely innocent. And if that's the case, I always say that, were they really survivors? Because their life as they knew it ended that night.
I mean, we'll have to talk sometime about the 911 call because
That's a whole new show.
I've this whole time I never thought either one of them, but after this 911 call and digging in and breaking it down, I don't know. I'm starting to question Dylan more and more and more and more. Just recently too. Like I never thought that either one of them. If I thought somebody had to do it that was connected to them, it was going to be Emma and Demetrius. You know what I'm saying? Like those are who I would. I mean, they're still suspicious to me too, and who also drives a 2013 Hyundai Elantra. Someone in that group there, but anyway, it. I don't know. There's just there. I don't see how somebody. I never thought anybody that was connected to the roommates had maybe, hey, the 8 hours before we even knew the transcript, before we even heard the audio, even then the 8 hours, that's its own thing. But when it comes to like, because until these documents came out recently, we thought that they were asleep. We didn't know, but the conversation was always, how could they have slept through that smell? You know what I'm saying? Like, how could they have slept? But when these documents came out and the transcripts came out and the audio recordings came out, the text messages came out, the call log came out, the photos and deletions of things, and it's just like, what? Where's this frozen shock phase? Where's this I fell asleep for 8 hours? Where's this we didn't even know that they had to be told to call 911 until those documents and the recording came out. Like when we were sitting here thinking, oh, they called 911 as soon as they woke up. No, they had to have Hunter tell them to call 911 before they even called 911.
And see, that's the reason that I brought up the interview with Stacy Chapin, and it's November the 17th interview. They do it with the King 5 girl that resembles Kaylee. And she talks about the 8 hours and the girls hearing, the rummaging in furniture. And Stacy Chapin is the one that said that Bethany yelled up the stairs and that she could hear the voices. And I've wondered if that could have been exculpatory evidence, because she didn't call 911. So, maybe it was the frat guys that did it because she recognized a voice or something. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, hell, when they're talking to 911, this is why I don't even understand why the 911 dispatch operator is getting all this hate, and has since these documents came out, because they're sitting there jumping on the 911 operator because she's like, quit handing the phone. This is the fourth person I've talked to. She asked the same question as soon as they got on the phone. Are they breathing? Are they breathing? And they spent that whole time.
She does, but they do say, I don't know. So that lets you know that they didn't go into the room.
Yeah, but can I tell you about, here, hand the phone. Hey, can I tell you about what happened at 4 a.m? We need to know if she's breathing, because we need to have the right first responders show up, because guess what happens if you don't know? You have the minimal response, don't you?
This is true.
And if somebody's not breathing, if somebody is hurt, then it's a whole different response. And then what happens if you don't have that response ready initially? You gotta wait another 5 fucking minutes. That's why I don't understand why this dispatcher's getting harped on, because it's like, yo, she's asking the most important question. Find out if your fucking friend is breathing or not. Then tell him about 4 a.m, because it's not the dispatcher's job to be knowing about the 4 a.m. That's the investigator's job that shows up that morning. Now you can tell the dispatcher information that you have to tell the officer, but damn, at least tell them what's going on with your friend so they know how to show up and they don't make your friend that's dying wait another 5 minutes because you didn't want to answer the damn question. So when you're putting all of that together, let me tell you about this. I want to tell you about this. I don't know if my friend's breathing or not, but I really care about telling you what happened at 4 a.m. Well, if you were that worried about what happened at 4 a.m, more important than your friend fucking breathing, well, then why didn't you call 911 when you saw the shit at 4 a.m?
Don't hold back, CJ. Tell us how you really feel.
I'm sorry. Shit pisses me off because it's like, so then you think of the +1.
Okay, the +1.
Whose reason? Yeah, she had to come be there at the school the first couple days of that week. She didn't have to be there till Monday. Why in the fuck did she come on Friday, Saturday? Why? Because of you, Dylan.
But that was as a favor to Maddie, because the year in 2022 was the first time that they allowed same sex to be a +1. It had to be male female. Well, that year they approved it to be same sex, and so Maddie got her to be Dylan's +1, so that if she was in town, she didn't just sit at King Road by herself. She got to go to the dance with them. Yes, no, maybe?
Okay, let me put it like this. And I'm not saying anything mean, and that's not what I'm trying to come across as, but let me put it like this. You obviously know who Dylan's crowd is, her
Yes.
boyfriend,
Yes.
her crowd, right? Okay.
Yes.
You know Maddie's crowd, okay?
Yes.
Right? You know Maddie's personality, you know Dylan's personality. When it comes to girlfriends, and I'm glad that you're a female. When it comes to girlfriends, and you're looking at the personalities and you're looking at their circle of people and who they hang out with, because ultimately you are an extension of the people you surround yourself with.
Birds of a feather.
Don't you think that Dylan would have been very persuasive to Maddie if she really wanted that to take place?
No.
You don't think so?
No,
Okay.
because, and here's the reason why.
I do.
Well, I mean, the reason I say that is because from the research that I've done, Maddie and Kaylee were sort of like the mama figures. They were like the adults in the house. You know what I'm saying?
The adults in the house, not the.
I mean, as adults as you can be in college.
Right.
I mean,
not the scandalous, conniving. That's what I'm talking about. The scandalous, conniving. You know, the smile on their face, but you know that it's the devil that's inside the mind, kind of shit. Like I said, that's why I asked you if you know her. You obviously know Dylan's circle. Look at the people that she hangs out with.
but
Are they not scandalous and conniving?
Okay, but that's one side that she comes from, right?
Big. Yeah. Look at her boyfriend. Look at her boyfriend, yo. Look at her boyfriend. Or her used to be.
Right. But, you know, the thing about it is she also comes from that other side that is the upstanding, decent. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's a reason she got in a sorority.
Who was friends with Emma, Nena?
Oh, well, I see the Emma thing.
Who was
I
friends
can
with
take you.
Emma, Nena?
Has it been proven that she was friends with Emma?
Oh my gosh. Look at the circle of friends. Circle of friends.
Okay.
We know Emma was a regular at that house.
Yes, we sure do, and I can tell you why about that too.
All right. All right. Okay.
Okay, that would go back to the guy Lake Campbell I told you about.
I mean, we could talk about that if you want, but this is why I've recently started to question Dylan, is because of all this other stuff. Okay, so her circle of friends is scandalous and conniving.
Okay.
Emma and Demetrius, their circle of friends, they're really freaking scandalous and conniving. And who is buddy and whose circle of friends hangs out with their circle of friends? Dylan's. Not Bethany's. Not Kaylee's. Not Maddie's.
Are you sure about Kaylee?
Dylan's. She hung out with everybody.
But are you sure that Kaylee didn't know them?
I don't think Kaylee associated unless she had to, out of respect for her roommates, with Emma and Demetrius, because you don't become successful like Kaylee did hanging around and associating with people like that. I'm just
okay. Let me. Yeah, you're correct. You're correct. So I'll rephrase that. Maybe not hanging out with, but maybe peripherally knowing them.
Oh yeah, because I'm sure they were, like I said, they were a regular in that house. But out of respect, she probably didn't care for him, obviously. But out of respect for her roommates, I can tolerate them. I'm not gonna hang out with them. They're gonna be acquaintances because it's out of respect for my roommates, because it's not my house, it's our house. And if, out of respect, I don't have to hang out and talk to you, but I don't have to be a bitch to you either.
Do you know who Emma Bailey's best friend was?
Oh my gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
I mean, like, best friends since, like,
yeah,
middle school cheerleading and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Aiden Barnhart. Aiden Barnhart has a stepbrother named Lake Campbell. I've got about 15 pictures of Lake Campbell going in and out of that house.
What?
And he's coming in the sliding glass doors.
Say that again.
1122.
Hold on. Say that again one more time. Aiden is what?
Okay. Aiden Barnhart has a stepbrother named Lake Campbell.
That's the stepbrother?
Yes.
The guy that you were... Really?
Yes. And I have one picture of him coming in the sliding glass doors of November the 13th, 2021, because I've got it marked that it was exactly 1 year till, that they had no idea that exactly 1 year to that date, they would all be gone. Now, Lake Campbell is an AKL, his fraternity is AKL. Steve Jr. and Lake Campbell are fraternity brothers.
Hold on 1 second, because I remember you sent me the picture and I saw Steve in there too.
Yep.
Where is that?
Now, why has it never been mentioned that Steve Jr. had any connection to 1122?
Hold on, I got to make these bigger so I can...
And I am not accusing anybody of anything.
Where was it?
I am in no kind of way saying that. I'm just saying that you take Aiden Barnhart, that's best friends with Emma, and then her stepbrother is Lake Campbell hanging out at 1122. His frat brother is Steve Jr. One of his best friends is Jake Schroeder. And then Caden Young was also AKL. And you remember the police report that Kaylee gave when she thought she saw the missing woman?
Yeah.
She gave 1122 as the address in 2021, and she didn't move there till 2022. I've got CJ speechless.
Yeah. Because, man, that's what I'm saying. Different puzzle pieces, people.
I mean, this is just a question that I would like to have answered. And it's mainly just curiosity that for 2.5 years, it has never, ever been mentioned that Steve Jr. knew anybody connected to that house. And so Emma and Aiden would happen up at 1122 when Lake and them. Now, see, when I got to researching it is because Lake Campbell's stepmother put out a Facebook saying that her stepson had just moved out of there, and she went through Steve Jr. being the AKL frat brother. She went through Jake Schreider being in Boise, and that's where Lake Campbell moved to, was Boise. And I'm like, wait a minute. So, of course, I started deep diving and getting pictures and stuff. And then when I started researching the Caden Young and found out that he was an AKL, I was like, wait a minute.
Where does he live? Where does that Lake live?
Lake Campbell lives in Boise.
Boise.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen CJ speechless.
I'm trying to go through all the Rolodex files here in my mind.
But did you know that Steve Jr. had any connection? I mean, he was going to college while Kaylee, I mean, this is like 2019, 2020. So that means that him and Kaylee were at the college at the same time.
No, I didn't. And then he hooks up with Olivia,
Right. And I think I sent you the picture of Lake Campbell. Okay, do you remember the body cam footage where they went to, was it 1126, and they're walking, and one of them goes to the front door and one goes to the side door?
Yeah.
The guy that comes around the house that talks to one of the police officers, that's Lake Campbell.
That was already there.
Yeah, that's Lake Campbell.
Wait, I thought that was
He looks a lot like Saeed.
Yeah, Saeed.
No, it was not Saeed, it was Lake Campbell.
What?
Yes.
Man, now you make me want to go back and watch that. Hold on a minute. Yeah, because I always thought it was Saeed.
Because when he's walking in the sliding doors at 1122, I made sure and went back and fact checked and everything, and sure enough, it's Lake Campbell.
Is it?
I mean, look, he looks a lot like Saeed.
Oh yeah. And the dude was wearing his hat backwards, had a backpack, and
right.
Wow, huh? I thought that was Saeed this whole time. That's interesting. Where does Boise? So,
yeah, he works for he's like the manager of a big roofing company in Boise, Idaho. I've got videos of him advertising on Instagram and everything. Then I have pictures of Caden Young, Caden Young's profile, his profile, and Demetrius's profile. And you can go through the comments, and Demetrius is commenting on both of their stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they didn't hide it.
Yeah, but I mean, what I'm saying is maybe the girls weren't connected. Maybe it was the people going to the house that was connected.
Well, yeah, look at all the different people that were there every time that they showed up. There was Hell, how many times were none of the roommates at the house when police showed up? I can't imagine how much substance was walking through them, the frames of the doors. I can imagine all the activity that was going on there.
Did I send you that picture of where it says Lake Campbell? He's coming through the sliding doors.
Let me see here. Some of them. Here, let me see. That's.
And I mean, I guess that's one of the things is, even though I know that I'm over on this side of where I'm thinking, is I don't mind talking about things that just don't look right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you've got Steve Jr. in the middle of the whole mess.
Yeah.
That doesn't look right.
Let's see.
I mean, I'm not at all, like you said, and my phone just died. Son of a bitch.
Oh, I can hear you. Uh-oh. I'm gonna upgrade the program in the next few days so I can add StreamYard links, and you'll be able to join a StreamYard party as well. So if there's any issue, I know some people have issues with this program. I'm also going to be able to have like all different. We could watch 2 videos at once here in the future. I think this is the post that she was talking about. So hold on one second. And let me put that up there. Oh yeah, we're definitely going to have a part 2. For sure. Here, let me switch these. And all right, so that'll blow it up some more for you guys. Thank you all for being here. By the way, please hit the like, and also here is Nena's link. Definitely go sub up if you're not subscribed already. I need to have Michigirl on the show sometime. So we'll wait for her to join. She said her phone was dying, and I think she said the other one was having some issues, and so if she's not able to come back, we'll go ahead and schedule a part 2. Tomorrow, I'm going to be going through the new interview that the Consulus family had. So tomorrow night, come back and hang out. Actually, I might go through it in the morning with Rosee. Let me reach out to Rosee and see if she wants to do an early show where we cover that. And if we don't, in the morning. So look for us around, because I know the notifications aren't working. YouTube's being buggy. Look for us around 9:30 in the morning Central, around there. If you don't see us on by like 10:30 a.m. Central, then I'm probably going to be talking about it tomorrow night, and then we'll find out from Nena when we can have her on again. I'm going to try and shoot for Tuesday night to try and have her on again. It was really really interesting, kind of how we just are combining our different things here. But yeah, I didn't know Steve Jr. was connected to any of those down there. Let me see here. Let me go ahead and message her. Let's see. Because it is kind of getting up there, and I'm going to have to do a little bit of lounging Let me see here. Let's see. I don't know if she can hear me. All right, we'll see. Because I know she said her phone died a little bit ago, and then it was hanging in there strong. But she said it died again, so we might have to wait. Oh man! And then I click back over to this. Man, creepy. Yeah, look for me in the morning with Rosee. I'd like to kind of go through the interview while she's see if she's got school or work or anything in the morning, our morning, and then we'll see. But I'll definitely be covering it tomorrow, either the morning or in the evening. We'll be doing a part 2 definitely for this, and there's some other stuff. But also, I'm going to be kicking it at the lounge for a little bit tonight, just chilling back, maybe playing something, watching something, not sure. So if you want to continue to hang out, you can go over there after we're done over here. And thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. And then here's that. Yeah, she and definitely go sub to it. It was when we first ran into each other, like she was sending me so much, and I was like, Nena, I feel so bad that I cannot get to all of your information. I feel so bad. Seriously, you should make a channel because you come out with great information. You got good information. Everybody should hear it, and it's like, oh man, you should make your own channel because get this out into the public. All right, here we go. Thank you, Caddy. Okay, let me see here. This was, oh shoot, hold on. This was a tweet. A tweet? Is this a tweet, Caddy, or what? 1 year ago? Or is this, hold on 1 second. Oh, it's okay, Nena. I was saying that we could always go ahead and call it a night and then do a part 2 because I'm sure we got a lot more to get into. I'm trying to share this from Caddy. Hold on. There we go. All right, so here's that. Some people think it's Lake Campbell too. That's interesting too. U of I ties. Emma Bailey ties. The stepmom works at U of I. His dad ran some sort of city office a year ago. That's such a cool photo, Caddy. That should be the photo for your channel. That's such a cool photo. Oh shoot. Where was it? Where was this from, Caddy? No, this ain't Twitter. This is Oh, I see what you did. You went to the No, it says 1. 1 year ago. Yeah, let's let me see. I need to save that in my creator file because we're going to share that link coming soon. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, crazy stuff. But yeah, we'll yeah, Nena. No, thank you. Thank you for hanging out. It was I think we both got our curiosity up for the right, 'cause creepy ass, weird ass neighbor, and then we're talking some more people kind of hanging around the house. But yeah, we'll have a part 2. We'll see what happens if I don't do the Consulus interview in the morning with Rosee. Then I'll be back tomorrow night. And I'll see if maybe I don't know. Nena, let me know. Is it cool if I let you know by like 11 in the morning? Because if I do the interview with Rosee, then we could do the part 2 tomorrow night if you're available. Just let me know. Yeah, let's get into it. So let me know. Again, thank you all. Appreciate it very much. Definitely go sub up to Nena. And I'll be going to hang out in the lounge here in a little bit. Always a last minute live over there. So if you don't see me live and you want to hang out, just keep checking every 5-10 minutes or something. I'll end up being up there eventually. We just got to shut the show down and do all that post-show stuff real quick. And then I usually hang out there for a little bit. But I want to say thank you all for being here. I love you guys. Hope you all have a peaceful, positive evening. Definitely check out that Unblurred. And definitely check out that Scream 2022. It was a live we just did, I don't know, a week ago. Somewhere around there. Definitely check out that because we go into more of those characters when it comes to that film society. Love you guys. See you later. And peace. Look for us tomorrow morning. Love you guys.
Okay over there? Alright, is your victim at the hospital? Someone shot there. Alright, the ET doesn't take pictures of the, is the domestic related? We're going to try to give her a call again, and then she just added another phone number to the 13-year-old grandson who's possibly with the daughter. Stand by with this. 2412. Veteran Chris Conway comment for the other female veteran suffer medication. She's away from safety. Detecting 12, detect someone else.
Take one more, 2.7.
10-4.